What's up everybody, Tyson here, and we didn't really have a tutorial for the Spain video, so what we're going to do is we want to kind of walk you through the way a couple things on the video were edited. There's a lot of hot things going around the internet as far as transitions, color, you know, all that good stuff that you got to keep up with, you got to stay up to date with, and if you don't, you're going to fall behind. And I feel like these days with the way technology's going, you know, you've got so many gimbals and it's so much easier to get a smooth shot, but it's so much easier to do those that now it's so much about the editing, and there's so much going around with the editing that you got to keep up with, and if you don't, you'll fall behind. So what we've done is we've kind of taken some ideas that we've seen around the internet that are pretty popular, and I've got a couple videos here to kind of show you what we've done in the Spain video, kind of show you where we got the ideas and how we're kind of making them into our own with the Spain video, because this is a different style that we haven't actually ever done in a video before. And the thing that makes it stand out the most is the transitions. So we got a video here with Sam Calder, and you can kind of see right here when it goes in. Bam, look at that, amazing. When I first saw this, Devin showed it to me, because I'm always asking him, man, we got to think of new ways to stay on top of this editing game. And he's like, check out this one that I just, so he saw this video, showed it to me. I'm like, oh, that's for sure After Effects, you know? I'm like, there's gotta be something that I don't know that's on After Effects. Sawyer Hartman did it too. He used it a little different. Boom, he added a little filter in there, but it's a slow fade into the next shot, which is so cool. And you see that originally and you're just like, whoa, it's just so cool. And I'm like, man, there's something crazy going on there. I even used it in one of the videos I did. This is the first video I ever did it on. A little bit of action there. So we want to show you guys how to do it. There's so many tutorials already on it, but there's a couple different ways to do it. I've learned how to do it in Premiere. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into our project file. Carter edited this video, he killed it, and so he wanted me to kind of walk you through those transitions and how we did them. So I'm gonna open my timeline. We have tutorials on how to do, you know, open your project, start a new project, import footage, all the basics, because this is a super advanced tutorial. I mean, the project's done. You typically want to do your effects and transitions, things like that. Later in the video, I do them as I go along, because you have to obviously find, I'll explain this later, but you find certain shots that you can do these effects in. We've got this shot here, which is amazing. Boom. So, like, what the heck? Most people see that stuff and they're going, how did you do that? You had to have used After Effects. You had to crop all that out. It's actually so much easier than you think. And it's just a little trick that I learned through tutorials online, and we wanted to show this to our audience because a lot of you probably haven't even seen it. This is the first video we're gonna be doing it in. So boom. We have it in a couple videos coming out later, but here it is. So basically what we've done here, and this is Carter's timeline, so he's got everything, which I love this, you got everything color coordinated so you can kind of see which is GoPros, what are timelines. Okay, so here's the angel shot, the angel statue, and that's been put here. Why you're not seeing this shot above it yet is because the filter's in there. And let me talk a little bit about the filter. If I go into here and I click on this and then go to effects controls, you'll see here that we have a Luma key filter. And that's all this is keyframing a Luma key. And basically Luma is your highlights and your lowlights, and you're keying those out. And the definition of keying, I guess, would be when you're green screening stuff, you know, that's why when people have a green screen, they stand in front of it, you're keying out that green by selecting that color green. And that's why when you light a green screen, you want it to be perfect, so that when you select that color, all the green's gone, and you use green because it stands out compared to other shots. Like if I was wearing a green shirt, it would key that out. You can do it with color, a color key as well, which is what you would do. There's so many, like keying out things is so much easier than it used to be. It used to be so much harder. Now there's just filters in Premiere that you can just throw on, select that color, key them out. You can set your tolerance, feather them so it becomes a perfect image. So that's what you're doing here, is you're adding those filters in, and then you're keyframing them to a certain tolerance that you're losing all those, you're bringing in, and you're, in this shot, the shot with the castle, we've keyed out the highlights around the castle. So it's basically gotten rid of the sky. and then the shot underneath it is the angel shot, and that's coming through. And so, if you look here, we've got our Luma key. If I was to turn that off, boom, the sky's there. And so you can kind of tell what's happening here. And now if I go all the way through, it's just that shot, turn it back on, the angel's there. So let me kind of show you how we've done it. So we're gonna just turn it off, and let's come here to the beginning. And so if I was to just add a whole new, let's go to my effects, type in Luma key. It's right there. Let's add it to the shot. You can add it here, you can add it here. So I've already turned this one off. I don't want to mess with Carter's, what he's done so far, but I'm just gonna add a new one so you guys can see what we've done. So right now when I add it, it's already got its settings to 100% threshold, 0% cutoff, and it's already jacked up the shot. So to show that, if you want to just mess with it, you can kind of see what's happening. If I was to drag that threshold all the way to 0%, it turns it off, nothing's being keyed. If I drag it forward, you can see that it starts to slowly key out whatever my cutoff is, which is right now blacks. And so if I go up to 100%, all the blacks are gone, the highlights are there. So let's go to 0, and let's bring the cutoff up a little bit. So you can see now it's bringing out the highlights from that shot. And if I was to mess with the threshold, if you get up to 50%, it's gonna jump back and forth. But basically you just wanna put this filter in and mess with it and kind of go back and forth and see what your best settings are for each shot. Because every shot's gonna be different depending on where the highlights and the lights are. So if you copy what Carter's done here, he has 100%, and that's because he's keyframed it. So as you can see, if you look up at right here, you got your threshold cutoff, which is what we were just playing with down here, and he's keyframed. And if you don't know how to do keyframes, let me just quick show you how to do that. If I was to go here and I wanted to put a keyframe in this exact same spot, you've got your keyframes, you got to turn them on right here. So you'll click here, and it automatically adds my keyframes in. And then that's, we want to set these to 100%. So anywhere you put the keyframe, that's where it's going to start. So I'm just copying what Carter has already done up here. And so if we go here to this keyframe, and that's a fast way to go right to the keyframe. If you click here, it'll go to that keyframe. So now we've got this, and as we go here, you can see your threshold is adjusting. And so I'm not going to copy exactly what Carter's done. I'm going to make my own key, which is where we've got this. So we've got this here, and how I'm going to do it is I'm going to start with 0, 0, so that it's off. As I push play, you're seeing the shot above it, and that's because the Luma key is off. If I was to add 100%, that's when it's going to change. Oh, I'd put a keyframe. That's the other thing, is when you have keyframes in here, you have to be careful where you're adjusting things, because it's going to automatically add keyframes in as you have your keyframes turned on. 100, 100. Okay, and that's going to basically show me what's underneath it. There's other ways to do it if you want to have the shot above, and then you're going to keyframe when this shot comes in and out. You can do that. I'm just running off of what Carter's got already set up here. So we've got the shot above it selected. You can see, you can't see it because your threshold and cutoff is at 100%. Let's go to that keyframe. You want to start on that keyframe, and right here is when we want to start bringing in the castle. Okay, we want to bring the castle in to about right here. So you're going to bring your timeline over, and your timeline, you can see your timeline here as well. And we're going to add, boom, boom, 2 more keyframes, okay? Let's bring this to 0. Okay, so now you can kind of see what's happening here. As I push play, it basically is bringing in that, it's leaving the angel, because everything, the You'll even see this stays because it's a dark spot, and then you'll see that this is staying because there's still dark in it. But the angel's staying because it's the darkest. So we chose these shots on purpose because you have this shot which has tons of highlights, and you're able to key all those highlights out. And then you've got the shot above it, which is this shot, which has a sky and it's highlighted above that. And then the angel is composed perfectly like it's floating in the sky. Okay, so as you're going, we obviously need to fix that castle because the angel's showing through, you're still seeing other things. So we go like this, come to these keyframes, and as it's moving, you're keying in the castle, and we get to this keyframe, and then we want to adjust your cutoff a little bit down. Let's go to about, see, and it's weird because as you get to a certain point, you'll see it just jump from highlights to darks. And you want it to go right to that edge, which is about 12%. So now, as you can see, as your threshold comes in fact, what we want to do is we don't want the cutoff to do anything yet until about right here, which is exactly what Carter's done. So we just add 100%, and that's basically leaving from this keyframe to this keyframe the cutoff so nothing changes. As you can see, from keyframe to keyframe, 100%. So we go here, and then as we go to this keyframe, that's when we're going down to 12%. So now watch as I scrub through this. There it is, bam, okay? So cool. So now, we've got ourselves a sweet shot. Another way you can do this, it's a little more difficult, but if you have like a shot where this sky was completely blue and there weren't clouds, you can come here. Any of the key filters, but we're gonna do color key. Color key, add that. And now if I wanted to completely get rid of the sky, we can come down here. So here's your color key. You're gonna click on your little dropper and you're gonna select this blue, okay? So basically what I was saying before is we're keying out the highlights, the lowlights with the Luma key, and then with the color key, we're actually selecting certain colors and we're keying those out. So you've got your tolerance, your thin, and your feather. You're gonna start with that. You're gonna choose your color. Now watch as I drag your tolerance, basically it starts disappearing. And not only that disappears, but anything with that blue in starts to disappear. And that's why it's hard to use a color key on these kinds of shots, because you're gonna start losing things in the rest of the shot because it's finding everything close to that color. But if I was just to keep it at 0 and just slowly move a little bit, you can kind of see things getting lost down here in the cars because there's that same blue down there. But as I drag it, you can also thin it, which just expands that tolerance that you've selected, and then feather that, which just makes it more smooth so you don't have those hard lines. So that's another way to do it. I need to render it. There we go. And that's just if you have certain colors you want to get rid of. Okay, so now that we've done this shot, I walked you through how Carter made this amazing shot. I just wanted to show you these other shots that he did it too. And it just shows you good examples of how we used it. Obviously you saw the examples in the other videos. But we've got this fountain, and he used the Luma, and as you can see, it'll start to fade out the clouds because that's the lightest part of the image, and you're losing the water, which brings in the guitar, and it's just cool. Like especially when you pause in that medium, like right in the middle of the filter, so that you're seeing both clips, you can get some cool images, which is what we did with the angel and castle. Right here you're seeing the guitar player in the fountain, which is pretty cool. So here's one. This is actually a super simple one. It's just literally a crossfade into, you know, as you're going. So if you click on it, you can kind of see what he did there. You've got your keyframe with it off on this clip. So this is the clip that's going to show up later, and this is the one under it. And as you go to this keyframe, it's halfway in, and then he holds that, and then it goes away, and then you're back onto this clip right here. So You do it, the best way is just to find shots that are really good to do with. He did it on this one as well. This is actually a great example because, and I think Devin even posted this as a picture on his Instagram, and it's because, I mean, the sky is white. You have a little bit of blue, a little bit of oranges, but it's mostly white, so you can really bring out that entire sky, and then all of a sudden you look like you have a building behind it floating in the sky. So it's super cool. Also, one other thing I wanted to say is that in the description, I'm going to put links to the videos that we showed. The Sam Colder, the Sawyer Hartman, and then my video, so that you can go and check those out. Use those keys, especially if you're doing a green screen with a talking head and you want to just ditch the background, put another background behind them. That's the simplest way to do green screen. Blue screen, same thing. That's what keying's for. Now these guys have found ways, which is genius, I wish I thought of this before, to actually add these keys into your shot and then keyframe them in and out. So it's basically just a crossfade, you know, and you're keying, except for just the whole shot, you're actually just doing the highlights, lowlights. So if you can find cool shots, like this one with Sam Colder was one that I just was like, holy crap, that was After Effects. Yeah, it must have took him forever. This shot right here. He lost the sky, okay? That's all staying there. This is all staying, and he's staying because these are the dark parts of the shot. And you can see it here too. The darks are staying, and then boom, they're all gone. Same thing there, just keying them in and out. These type of things are game changers, especially if you can use them right. And then I love the way Sawyer has added in filters to them. So like, you got this one, that was the Luma key, and then he's actually added filters onto that Luma key, where it's that kind of that bad TV look. So super cool, you know, trying to stay on top of the game. You guys have awesome ways to do these same filters or other transition filters that you can tell us about. Put them in the comments below. Super cool to learn all about those things. So let us know, and let us know what you think about this tutorial. If you want to see more editing techniques, I'd love to share them. Editing is what I love to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Questions down below as well. Make sure to thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And thanks so much for watching. Over and out.